Hi everybody. Today's episode of Take a Sip is titled, I Had It Backwards. In James chapter 1 verses 19 to 20, it says, My dear brothers, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Excuse me. For man's anger does not bring about the righteous life that God desires. I had it backwards when I would always be too quick to react to what was said. I was doing this because I was reacting on what I thought I heard. I will admit that I am a multitasker. It's one of the things that I am usually good at, and it's something that I actually enjoy doing. The problem with being a multitasker is that is not a task that I should be doing when I am supposed to be listening. I say this because there were times when instead of me fully listening to what was heard, I was always waiting for someone to finish what they had to say so I could jump in and say what I wanted to say, which was a clear indication that, number one, I should not have been trying to multitask a conversation, and number two, I'm not gaining the full scope of what they are trying to tell me if I'm just listening for that break so that I can get my own word in, and that's exactly what I used to do. I wanted to say that the scripture here clearly points out that we should be quick to listen. And I wasn't quick to listen. I was actually quick to speak. But that was definitely something that I am growing in and learning not to do so much. Years ago, when I did this, it caused a lot of me arguing in relationships, and I say years ago because I'm past the point of enjoying the fact of arguing. I'd much rather just have peace. And my parents, thank God for them, because when I was young, they gave me tips on how to be a good communicator. And I'll honestly say I wasn't listening to them then because I was in that arguing mode. But if you are past the arguing point like I am, this would be a good tip that I learned from my parents, and they told me to write things down. So now when I have a conversation with someone, and it's one of those intense conversations that need to take place in order for people to grow and move forward, I sit down with either a note card or a pad of paper and a pen, and I write things down and I take notes. I not only write down what I'm thinking as far as what they are talking about, but I'm also writing down things that I may want to say when they're finished. I do not interrupt them, or I make every effort not to interrupt them, and that's the point of writing it down, is so that when they're finished and you have the opportunity to speak, then you are able to say things in a clear way, and you're able to address whatever was said, and that person now has the opportunity to hear you instead of this situation where both of you are just kind of waiting for that pause to get your word in, so because that kind of leads to arguing. So I do want to say that even though my parents told me that when I was younger, I didn't start doing that until I got older, but it was extremely, extremely helpful. So now I can have a good conversation, and the other person does not feel like I'm talking over them. They don't feel like I'm looking to argue, because I'm not. I'm just trying to make my point, but at the same time I'm giving them the opportunity to make whatever points they need to make without being interrupted. My encouraging scripture, it's encouraging, but it's also something that may not be encouraging, but to me it's encouraging. It's from Matthew chapter 12, verses 36 and 37. It says, But I tell you that men will have to give account on the day of judgment for every careless word they have spoken. For by your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. My last thought is to say, be mindful and be intentional on what you say.